And we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Andrew back again with another live stream here on July 18th, 2021, 9:02 a.m. Pacific time. How is everybody doing? It's good to see a lot of people already here. We got 54 of you watching. Wow, that's a good start. We usually gain a lot of people as the stream goes on. We gain momentum, and that is good. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. A little bit of an experiment today. I'm doing this stream in 1440p. So if you want to go up to the higher resolution, go ahead and do so. Let's see if this can hold up. Hopefully my bandwidth will be able to support it. So far it's looking okay, but you never know how these things go. So a little bit of an experiment today. So bear with me if there are some technical difficulties, but so far, knock on wood, the bandwidth is holding up. What I did yesterday is I released my video on the Lenovo ThinkPad X13 Gen 2. So if you didn't see that, go over to my channel, check it out. Really nice laptop, nice alternative if you don't want to spend the big bucks on the X1 Carbon Gen 9. But if you want to get something with a good ThinkPad quality and you want to see all those kind of features, nice display, all that, but not want to spend that kind of big bucks, then check out the X13 Gen 2, a really solid choice. I really like it. So good to see a lot of people here. Good to see Handquake, our moderator, member. Good to see you. 1440p is working good. A little bit of an experiment, JC. We'll see how that's going to go. Good to see Than Lee. Good to see you back in the chat once again. Always active. Jacket and all, yes. Why not? Why not? We're doing this 1440p. I might as well try to make myself somewhat presentable. And we also have the Dell XPS 159510 here with its OLED display. And next to that is the 9500 from last year with the 10th gen processor. Wanted to show you the difference between the black and the white. Obviously, the carbon fiber black here, the white on this one. Looking good so far. As far as the 9510, I'm really liking it. Although if you do get the white, definitely put a skin on it. It does scratch easily. I have a minor scratch on mine. I'm not happy about that, but I will have to do a skin on that. So definitely something to be aware of. We'll talk more about that later. Looking sharp. So you like the 1440p. Hopefully my bandwidth will maintain this. It's looking good so far. So knock on wood, fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll get through this stream. So check out that video that I released yesterday. Like I said, the ThinkPad X13 Gen 2, really nice offering. I have more to come on the ThinkPads as well. Stay tuned. Got a lot more, as well as the HP Envy 15 ordered, hopefully coming very soon as well. And we can get rid of the music. We don't need it now, but we're also going to have the Aero from the Pavilion line on its way this week. So stay tuned. That is a new one and it looks pretty interesting, affordable, good specs. Let's check that out when I do get it. Good to see Leonard Lim here. You ordered the 9510 en route. Yeah, I'm loving it. I like it. And we're going to test thermals today on today's show. I wanted to do it live to see what's going on with it. Who else is here? We said hello to JC. We said hello to Than. Andy Kyler, good to see you, my friend. William Cohen, once again in the house. Yeah, staying cool, a little bit better. Still over 100, but not quite as bad as what we were experiencing last week. That was brutal. But really, everything is good so far, and let's get right into it, shall we? So we got 77 of you watching, but do me a favor. If you're watching right now and you like the live stream, hit that thumbs up, because what happens with the algorithm is if you give engagement, if you do like it, they will spread it out to more people, will show it to more people with more impressions, and that gives me more opportunity to get this seen by more people. And that, of course, eventually leads to channel growth. So do me that favor, hit that thumbs up. We already have 33 likes, 42 likes rather. Let's hit that thumbs up, people. We got 81 of you watching. All right, now let's get to business. And you can see here, let's move to this angle. We can see here on the left is the 9510, on the right is the 9500 from last year. And if you want to get an overhead shot here, you can see the difference between the Arctic white with the glass woven interior and the black carbon fiber. Now, this one obviously will show a lot more fingerprints than the white. That's the benefit of that. But the lid I am showing on here, there's a slight scratch there. I don't know if you can see it. Let me zoom in. You can see it here, and I'm not happy about that. Where is it? There it is. I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. It's going to happen. And so this has a very similar exterior, so you're really not that much protected on that one. So really, you know, I pay $3,000. You don't want to see anything happen to it, but you know what? You're going to use it. Things are going to happen. I'm not that upset about it, but just be aware if you do get it, maybe invest in a skin or some kind of cover on it. You might want to do that. So Jose's 9510 in white is coming today, so that's going to be exciting. You must be excited about that. The carbon fiber falls apart in humid weather. Let me make this a little bit bigger. In humid weather, I have one for 3 years, and it is disgusting. So the carbon fiber, what you're talking about is this material here, and you will see some fingerprints already. Very hard to keep clean, very comfortable feeling on it. A little bit different than this glass woven interior on the white. But both are good, both have their pros, both have their cons. It's better contrast with the backlight on this one. You can sort of see, well, you can't really see with my studio lights, but with this one, you can not quite as differentiate the keys from the white backlight, white on white. So a little bit of a negative in terms of the backlight, but nothing as far as a deal breaker by any stretch. Okay, now I did the battery test on this. And let's go to this. And for those that want to know the specs and so forth, let me put them on the bottom screen here. As you can see, it's scrolling. Let me know if you like that. That's something a little bit different we're going to do today. And you can see, for those wondering, instead of asking questions on it, maybe this can answer some of your questions. I have the Core i9-11900H, an H series 8-core processor from Intel, RTX 3050 Ti. On this, as far as the GPU, it's from NVIDIA. I've got 32 gigabytes of SD RAM. It's DDR4 SD RAM, 3200 megahertz as far as what it's running. And I have a 512 gigabyte M.2 SS. What do I have? Yeah, I have 512 gigabytes of SSD storage. Now, I did my battery test. Now, I will have my full review, so you'll have a little bit more information on my continuous web surfing test over Wi-Fi at 150 nits. And this baby did, let's take a look at it actually. I'll bring up the screen on there, and let me go to my screenshots. And I got, let's see here, with 3% left. I started with 100%, and I got 8 hours and 19 minutes on my continuous web surfing test over Wi-Fi at 150 nits. And so what that means is, that means you're going to look at anywhere from 6 to 7 hours in real world usage, depending on what you're doing. So that is something to be aware of. So for an OLED display, definitely not too bad, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So not too bad. Now, as far as what Executor Raptor's talking about, scratches on white laptops will be less noticeable. Yeah, but you know, I still have one tiny little scratch on it. It's kind of bothering me, but I'm that way. You know, I want it to be perfect, but it's never going to be perfect once you use it in normal use. We got 106 of you watching. Battery life, as I just stated, Yash, 6 to 7 hours real world usage, 8 hours and change, 8 hours, I think, what did I say, 19 minutes? What did it say? 8 hours, 19 minutes on my continuous web surfing test over Wi-Fi at 150 nits. So you can extrapolate that, 6 to 7 hours real world usage. Now, as far as the performance on this has been very good. I showed you already some of the benchmarks. We did a live benchmark last week doing the 3D Mark, Firestrike, Time Spy scores. Those were decent. We did the, and I can show you some of the numbers here that we did for those that didn't check it out. Let's go back to this camera. And we got on the Time Spy score 4709. Okay. And we got a 10,204 on the Firestrike score, which is good. And then we got 8,000 8,596 on the multi-core score of the Geekbench 5 test, single core score of 1625. Those are decent numbers. And I did some stress testing, and we're going to do some live stress testing, but you'll see this in the video. This does thermal throttle, which is not to be unexpected because of the Core i9, because of the thin chassis, but it did max out to 100. Let me try to get this more zoomed in. 100 degrees Celsius, and then what would happen is it would fluctuate between 2.19 gigahertz, 2.196 gigahertz to 2.587 gigahertz. With a maximum turbo boost, looks like 3.429 or something like 3.4 gigahertz. So what happens is it goes to 100 centigrade in terms of the temperature, turbo boosts up to 3410 to get to that 100, and then it reduces the speed of the laptop to anywhere from 2.1 to 2.57 to maintain a cooler anywhere from 80 degrees to 87 degrees, which is definitely cooler. You will notice it does get warm on the bottom, not overly hot. The fans surprisingly are not that loud, actually. I expected more fan noise, so they did a good job in that regard, but it does throttle down, but it totally expected. I did not expect it, and you saw the numbers are good. So the bottom line is, do I think you should get the Core i7 or should you get the Core i9? Now, I think the Core i7 for most people, I think it's been established, is probably the sweet spot. I don't think you need a Core i9 unless you're doing that really extra step of high-end video editing, which I do. I don't really think you're going to need that extra core. So there you go. And so do I think you should buy the Core i9? Probably not. I think you should go save the money, get more RAM or get more storage, put it in there, or you could upgrade it yourself, of course, which is the beauty of this laptop. Is great. There's 2 slots, 2 SODIMM slots, 2 SSD slots. Save the money instead of going with the Core i9. Now, and again, I'm sorry for the chat. I may be a little bit behind. Now, super stickers, super chats get you to the front of the line, priority in terms of hearing your comment or question first. Memberships are open. That certainly, let me fix this. Memberships are open. That certainly helps support the channel. We have a nice, healthy, growing membership. I will be doing something special very soon. We'll do another members-only live stream. And it's not the jacket, members only. And we're going to do a lot more. So if you want to help support the channel, it definitely helps support it and financially to help me get devices like this. This was sent over from Dell. This is my own personal laptop. Now, I did speak to Dell, and they are sending me the Dell XPS 17. Since I already have the 15, there's no need for them to send it because the one they would send is very similar. But they are sending me, as soon as they can, a Dell XPS 17. So for those that are not subscribed to the channel, stay tuned. That is coming. All right, let me go some of your questions before we get back onto it. And for those that see the scroll down there, you can see some of the specs of what you can expect with the Dell XPS 15 9510, as we have triple digits, 100 people watching. We have only 55 likes. What's going on, people? Don't embarrass me. Why is there only 55 likes with 100 people watching? 104. So do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Is it worth to go for the OLED screen? Now, here's the deal with the OLED screen, and I talked about this last week in the live stream, and I showed you in my unboxing video. I got I hit the jackpot when it comes to displays in the laptop world. I got 100% coverage of the color gamut on my Dell XPS 15 9510 rather, 100% sRGB, 100% Adobe RGB, 100% of the DCI P3 wide color gamut, and 100% NTSC. What does that mean? Well, this is a laptop that is geared towards content creators. So having that coverage of the color gamut, which has been perfect so far, is great, especially when you're doing things like color grading, Photoshop, Lightroom, video editing, and there you go. And we have our first super sticker of the day, and it's from our good buddy, Rob L. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. And a very generous, once again, $49.99. Thank you, Robert. Means so much. Thank you for supporting the channel. You are truly, truly amazing. So everybody give it up for Robert. All right, now, back to the Dell XPS 15 and this display. Now this display, like I said, perfect coverage of the color gamut, really good color accuracy. And we got a very low delta E score, which measures color accuracy. We want to see anything below 2 is considered very good. This is great. This is amazing. 0.78 is what I got on this, which is pretty amazing in terms of color accuracy. So not only does this cover the color gamut, but it also covers but it also has extreme color accuracy, which is definitely what you want to see. Now, on top of that, this is an HDR Dolby Vision display, so you're going to get that content with high dynamic range content. You're going to really show how this display shines. It is pretty amazing. All right, so the display, to me, when you want to ask the question, is it worth getting the OLED? To me, it is. For somebody who does color grading, somebody who does content creation, to which this laptop is geared towards, then yes, I do think you should get the OLED. Now, having said that, if you take a look at the one on the right, that is the IPS UHD Plus 4K Plus display. And I think that's 3840 by 2400, which is, of course, UHD Plus. And another spectacular job they did. So you can pretty much expect this fantastic display, IPS display, and there are some benefits, of course, over the OLED display. With this display, it gets brighter. This measured 402 nits, which is very good. This measured 546 in my testing, which is fantastic. I mean, anything over 400 is good. Anything over 500 is really beyond good. It's great. So 546 I measured on this. Also very good coverage of the color gamut, good color accuracy on it. And that searingly bright display is fantastic. Now, the other thing with the 9500 here, which has that IPS display, which you could also get with the 9510, you'll get better battery life. Now, I don't remember offhand, we can take a look at it, but this will definitely do better than the OLED. Now, the OLED, you want to use a background, but that'll do better in battery life, but it still won't be quite as good as the IPS. Now, Robert, how's the weather in Vegas? Much better. It was searingly hot last week. We had a heat wave. It is cooled down somewhat. I think we're expecting thunderstorms to come through here, which we can use the rain, of course. So we'll see how that all goes. So we got 127 of you watching. The scroll down there, let me know if you think it's good or not, but it gives you a little bit of the specs, so maybe you have some questions. Now, I got the one with the 130 watt USB-C power adapter, which of course is the bigger one. They do have a 90 watt power adapter. There are two battery sizes, 56 watt hours and 86 watt hours. Of course, I have the 86 watt hours. I would recommend that for anyone who wants a little bit more longevity. And as I mentioned, and you'll see in my upcoming full review, it will get 8 hours and 16, what did I get? 8 hours and I think 16 minutes on my continuous web surfing test. We can take a look at it again. We got 819. So 819, you're looking anywhere from 6 to 7 hours on what I would call mixed use. Fans, stay on topic, please. Let's keep it focused. We need your help. Don't do that, okay? Thinking of a portable monitor for the 9510, what do you recommend? There's a really good one that I've been using. I don't know if I have it here. It's this from ThinkPad. It's the ThinkVision. And I got to say, I've been really liking this. So let's, if you could take a look at it. It's a portable touch monitor, and it really and it has a built-in kickstand here. Comes with a nice case here, and you can see the kickstand like there. And let me see what angle I can show this to you on. You can see here, I can sort of put it here, and you can get an idea of it. And it's a nice little portable monitor. Comes with a nice cloth case, and it comes with, you guessed it, a pen. So you can actually use the pen on this. So very nice one. ThinkVision. I'll leave a link when I'm done. I don't know what the model number is. It's the ThinkVision, but you can pretty much search on Lenovo's site. I've been using this, and it's actually been pretty good to take with me on the road, if I need to do some editing and I need a second monitor, it's actually worked out pretty well. All right, so let me put that down. All right, whew, we're already 22 minutes in, and I feel like we just started. Wow, 149 watching. Okay, so you like that, Leonard? Good. All right. I don't think we need the scroll for now, so let's take that off. For those joining late, hi, it's Andrew here, back again with another live stream, and we're talking about what you see here on the left is the Dell XPS 15 9510. On the right is last year's model 9500. Do you think the price of the Dell XPS 9500 will drop much with the release of the Dell XPS 9510? You might get it on discount. Check out Dell's website. Go to Amazon. You might find some good deals there. But you will notice, and I'm running the Core i9 on this. There's a Core i7, so keep that in mind. But I noticed on some of the benchmarks, and I can bring them up here. Let's stick to this camera, these camera angles. Let me go to 4. On this one, let me bring up my benchmarks that I just ran, just to get a little idea of it. Now, this is not the one I just ran. Not this one. It's probably this one, of course. Okay, so that's that. Oh, yeah, so it was that. Okay, so if you look on that one, we got 79... 74, 94 on the multi-core score, 1256 on the single-core score. So let's bring up what we got here. On this one, we got, where is it? 8596. So you see a much better or a higher multi-core score. I don't know, much better, but it is higher. And 1625. So you're doing better on single-core and multi-core score. Now, this has the 1650 Ti. This one has RTX 3050. So there are some differences on the GPU. Now, if I go to here, and if you can't see it, I'll tell you what it is. So when I ran the Cinebench R15, and let me maximize that, I got 116.79 frames per second and 1648 on the Cinebench score. And on this one, I got 205.09 on the frames per second, and I got 1856 as far as the Cinebench score. So you're going to expect to see better numbers on it, obviously, and you're seeing that on there. You're seeing that. So not bad. So you're getting an improvement. Now, this is a Core i9. This is a Core i7. This has a better GPU also, so keep that in mind. So we expect to see these scores. And then finally, on the Cinebench R20, let's take a look at what we got on both of these. And as you can see here, so 3558 on the 9500 and 4371 on the 9510. So you can see a definite improvement on that test as well. According to Robert's asking, what do you consider a good single and multi-core score number? Just curious. So to give you an example, these are very good scores on portable laptops. And these are portable. There's no question, 4 pounds or so, a little bit more than 4 pounds, thin, light. So these are good scores. As far as the Cinebench, it depends on which processor you're using. But I would say this is a very good score, the 4371. The 3558 is a good score also on that kind of test. So you really have to compare them to similar type of laptops to really get a fair type of comparison. So I already showed you GamingPi. We're going to run right now, actually, and we can do that now. Let's close these. I want to run a quick thermal test. We're going to do a Prime 95 stress test, and then we're going to monitor. And let me go to this camera with this. There we go. And let's bring up. So here, and you can see, and I can switch to here, and then let me switch to this one. Here you can see the hardware, CPU ID hardware monitor. We can test the thermals and so forth. And right now it's at 56 degrees with 100 degrees maximum, okay? So we're at 56 degrees. Let's run the Prime 95 stress test, which is going to really push this laptop. Let me bring it up. And let me go back here. Prime 95 is here. Let's install it real quick. See, okay. And now the Prime 95 stress test is underway. And what it's going to do is really tax this laptop. And you could already see it hit 100 right away. So it hit 100, and now it started, and let's scroll down a little bit. So the temperature's up there, and then if it scroll down, it started with a 4.935 megahertz or 4.93 gigahertz to 3.5, right around 3.5 right now. So it went down a little bit. We just started the stress test, and you can see the numbers going there while we're stressing this out. Now, this is the Core i9. What is it? The Core i9 11900H processor. It's an 8-core, 16-thread processor from Intel. And you can see it's hitting 100 right now while it's being stressed. So there you go. And let's let that do its thing, and let's see how long. Right now, the fans are going. I do hear it, but I don't hear them very loud, Gamey Pie. So it's looking good. So right now we're at 3.2, 3.3 gigahertz with a core temperature of about 99 to 100 right now. So it didn't throttle down. It's still at that 100 yet, and it's maintaining about 3.1 to 3.5. So let me move this a little bit out of the way so people can see it. It is transparent, so that's okay. And we're doing live testing here, people. 147 of you. Hit that thumbs up, people. It helps me out a lot here. We have 83 likes with 147. Why do we not have 100 people watching? So, and there you go. So there you go. Never buy a laptop with it. This is one of those. Okay, people, let's stop with the nonsense. We love AMD. Unfortunately, we can't get AMD right now, so let's be realistic. And these are good laptops. Intel's making some good stuff here. The numbers are showing it. But don't just discount something for one brand over another just because of loyalty. It doesn't make any sense. I go with what the best thing is. How do you feel about these temps? Well, here's the thing. You don't need a Core i9. You want to go with a Core i7. It won't be as hot. I have the Core i9 because I do testing for you guys, obviously, and I do video editing, so that extra oomph is definitely going to help out. Right now, it's down to 87 degrees. After hitting 100, that's the limit, it goes down to 7 degrees. Now, the power package of the wattage, you're looking at maximum 81.23 watts. Right now, it's at 45. They limit it to 45, it looks like. 47, around there. And then right now you're looking at 2.7, 2.8. So it is going down. You notice it went from 4.935 with that was the turbo boost. And now you're looking at 2.7, 2.8 or around that area. So you're definitely seeing it under heavy load here, what's going on. So I don't think you need a Core i9. I think you're better off with the Core i7, saving the money, putting it in more RAM, or, again, you can upgrade the RAM yourself and the SSD. What are your thoughts? Alex Yang is asking, what are your thoughts on the 3.5K OLED versus the 4K? And I don't know if you joined us late. I did mention my thoughts on it already. OLED is excellent if you're doing color grading, if you're doing, need something with that coverage, but that IPS display is fantastic as well. So we've been running this for a few minutes already, and you can see it's hovering between 80 to 90 degrees Celsius, and it also is going anywhere from 2.5 to 3, I guess, at this point. So it's maintaining it. It's not going down too much, well, that's good. And the fans are going. They're at full blast, and it's not too loud. So they did a good job in that regard. Now, I don't have my temperature gun with me here. I should probably brought it. It is a little bit warm on the underside here. It is a little bit warm. And the fans are really kicking in. And you really can't hear it probably because of my microphones, but there you go. Is it better than the M1? M1 is a good chip, but it depends. M1 is not you want to see what the M1X has to offer, I think, to compare it. But the M1 will do very well on these synthetic benchmarks, that's for sure. As far as the temperature so far, you're looking at about 90 degrees. It does get warm on the underside. I'll talk more about this in my upcoming full review. All right. Let's take a little break for coffee here. And Executor's bringing up a point here. Everybody wants Ryzen, but there is a reality here. There just isn't enough chips, so people will have to do with what is available. I was late to buying the Slim 7 Pro with the 5800H, but next shipment is September 28th. Ouch. And I'm going to bust mine out probably this week because I can do a follow-up on that. Jeremy Tarter is asking, why do you think most PCs have mediocre battery life compared to Macs? Do you think Microsoft simply hasn't put as much focus on the idle and low utilization power consumption as Apple and Google? Well, that's a good question. And I think the reason being is obviously Apple controls not only the hardware, but the software. So they can optimize it to their liking. They control the chip. They control everything inside the laptop and the software. So they have an advantage over Windows because Microsoft has to make an operating system to accommodate multiple OEMs, many OEMs, and there you're going to get some variations there, and they all do a difference as far as battery size and so forth, so you will get that variation. Although the battery life is pretty good so far on this. Now, Dell, Robert is saying chip shortages for sure. That is correct. And you notice that your Dell laptop seems to run a bit warmer. Yeah, this is a thin chassis, people. Let's be clear. This is a very thin chassis. So what does that mean? That means you're putting all this power into the heat's got to go somewhere. It's generating heat. It's got to go somewhere. So they have to dissipate it. Now on the XPS 17, they use vapor chamber cooling, which I'm hoping to test out once I do get my review unit from Dell. They don't use vapor chamber cooling on this. I just don't know if it was possible on this, or they just didn't want to put something that's going to be exclusive to the XPS 17 to hopefully sell more of those. I don't know, but there you go. Now, as far as the keyboard, I absolutely love the keyboard. You can see it here. And again, I have both. These are identical as far as the exterior is concerned. I think this is a little bit lighter with the 9510. Thank you, Robert. As far as the keyboards, excellent, good tactile feedback, good key travel, very comfortable to type on. I did mention at the earlier part of the stream that you will have a harder time with the contrast between the white on white as opposed to the carbon fiber black on the white on black with the backlight. So keep that in mind. Could the Brandon Tobias is bringing up the point, could it be that the OEM drivers are just not efficient? I think Microsoft needs to work with OEMs more. Yeah, that's probably a true statement. I would agree. Again, it's almost impossible because you have to accommodate so many different OEMs, and therefore everybody's needs are going to be different. It's hard to please everybody, whereas Apple only has to please themselves, really, because they control hardware, software, and everything in between. Which is important for video editing and content, CPU or GPU? It's a combination, but GPU is very important, especially when you're doing high-end video editing. The GPU is very, very important, and that's something that cannot be understated. But RAM is important. The CPU, of course, the clock speeds are important, and the thermals are important. Everything, it comes together to try to blend it all together. Let's take a look where we are. And right now, it's hovering at around 90 degrees, 92 degrees Celsius, and we're at 2.5 or so gigahertz. So it turbo boosted when it began to 4.9, but you're at 2.4, 2.5 right now. And that's not bad. Listen, not bad at all. And you saw from the numbers that I showed you, these are good scores, but it will throttle. It does produce heat, and that is just the reality. It's hot underneath, but not too bad. I'm trying to feel here. Not too bad. So there you go. So that's basically what you're looking at here. How do we know if we have a defective trackpad? All right, I'm going to show you something. All right, so on the left is the 9510. On the right is the 9500. What I've noticed, this is on tighter. This trackpad is on much tighter. This one is a little bit more looser. I noticed this when I was comparing the two, and I'll show you more in the upcoming video. So they definitely paid attention to that issue with the trackpad. I know that for sure. This one is on a lot better. And I noticed that it's a little bit looser on the right side here. You could sort of hear it. This one is a little bit more tighter, a little bit more on a little bit better. So there you go. Well, can those two run 8K videos smoothly? Yeah, I think you can. I haven't tried an 8K video, but let's first get through this stress test. I want to get at least 15 minutes on it to show you exactly the numbers, but we can try to do that for sure if we have time. Can you compare the size with the XPS 13? I do have that here. I do have that here, and here's the XPS 13, and this is the OLED variant, I think. Let me see here first. Let me go here. Let me just check this real quick. I don't know which one this is. This is the OLED, and I'm running Windows 11. You can see it here. We can show the size in a moment, and if you go over here, you can see it's right here. Let's finish these tests, and I'll show you. I'll bring this on in the stream. Okay. Why do Windows laptops always have bad webcams? Well, the same could be said for Apple as well, that's for sure. And I disagree, actually, with the Windows, because has anybody seen the one on the 7320 detachable that I looked at? And how about the one on the HP Elite Dragonfly Max that I took a look at with that 5 megapixel beautiful webcam on that? So that's good. In fact, they're better than Apple. So that is not a true statement, then. You know, that is not a true statement. I think Windows has actually taken the lead on that. Previous versions couldn't. I don't know what we're talking about. Probably I'm coming in midstream. Hey, Andrew, are the fans, let's see with this. Hey, Andrew, are the fans during normal usage, you don't hear them. They don't really kick in. It's only under heavy load that you'll notice them. My XPS 139310 has them at 4,700 RPM, 90% of the time with low usage. It's driving me insane. You might want to go into the thermal management, Dell thermal management, power management, whatever they call that app, to change that, because they have balanced versus ultra performance, and there's a couple of other settings, so you may want to check that out. But, you know, it is a thin and light laptop. It depends on what you're doing with it. So there you go. You like the stream? Okay, good. Now, for those joining us late, I am streaming in 1440, which is something a little bit different. So far, it's maintaining 1440, 60 frames per second. 138 of you watching. So again, I'm hoping the bandwidth is maintaining it so far. It looks like it's holding up. We're now at 39 minutes, so knock on wood, hopefully we'll keep going. Yeah, the white is good, but it will show scratches a little bit on the lid. I'll show you in a little bit, but definitely want to do that. True statement, overpriced just to run Windows 11. Well, Windows 11 is not out. Let's just be clear. That's coming out in October. But if you're running the Insider Program preview, then you can get a taste of what's to come on that. All right, I'm glad, ThinkVision. I'm glad that it's holding up. All right, we got 156. Why do Windows laptops perform better when plugged in? So that's more, I think, on the AMD side of things. With AMD, and I noticed this with the Surface Laptop 4 that I tested, running that AMD chip, when you plugged it in, you got better performance when it was not plugged in. Same could be said for some Windows laptops. I didn't notice it on these so much as more as on the AMD, the way they do it. So that's a pretty interesting thing that's going on. With the stress test running, is the battery draining time holding up, or is there any net battery drain? So I'm looking at it. There's no battery drain. It's running, and I can let's put this on the screen here. Let's see. Let's take a look. So right now it's plugged in. It's at 99%. I didn't start at 100%, by the way. And right now the charge rate is 9.451 megawatts or milliwatts. I don't know what that is, the lowercase. Somebody correct me. I don't know. So I don't think it's discharging any more than it's putting out. So I think it's okay. I don't think it's draining. I don't see any battery drain on this so far, but it's looking good. Not to say that it won't happen, but so far with this stress test running, I have not noticed it. Let's keep our eye on that. We'll check back in a little bit on that. All right. So according to Executor Raptor, reasons for the M1 battery: first, it's control of all layers of the system when developing it. Second, the M1 is a 5 nanometer system based on a system on a chip, while Ryzen is a 7 nanometer. The difference will lessen in next-gen Ryzen, most likely. That's a good point, Executor Raptor. That's for sure. The MacBook trackpad to me is the best. This is a close second. These are good. This new one is good. Now, I did find a little bit of an issue on this one, and people had some issues with inadvertent clicks, loose touchpad or trackpad. This one, much better. I have not had the same issues. I've not had any issues with it. It's actually working great. Now, if you look over here, I have a MacBook Pro 16. This is, to me, is the best trackpad I've ever used. It's by far the best. Apple knows what they're doing when it comes to the trackpad. All right, so we did hit 112 likes, so thank you, people. We have 159 of you watching. That's good. And now, oops, we can put that back over here. I don't know how that got screwed up. Let's fix that. Everything happens live, and we don't actually need it. So let's take off that. And for those joining us late, here are some of the stats that will scroll on the bottom to tell you what we're looking at, which is, of course, the Dell XPS 15 9510, which you see here on the left. On the right is the 9500 from last year, running a 10th gen processor from Intel. This is the 11th gen on the left. All right, so it seems they fixed the issue. Seems like they fixed the issue, Mitel. Have they fixed the issues with the trackpad? I think they did. So far, what I'm seeing on my unit, which I purchased, this is not a review unit for those wondering, it is working fine. Can you scroll down a page by pressing your thumb and controlling? I don't know how, what do you mean? I don't know. We could try that, but I'm in the middle of a stress test. Let's see here. I don't know what you mean. Like, you mean like, I don't think you could ever do that with the Windows gestures. I don't know. Well, we could try that later. Let's get back to the stress test here. All right. That's a good, we could try it. I would like to see an ultimate comparison of all laptops you've reviewed. Well, that's ridiculous. What, 30, 40 laptops at a time? I mean, this is ridiculous. I will be doing, I think, I might be doing a head-to-head on the ThinkPads to see, not a head-to-head, but an overview of the ThinkPads. I've been thinking about that, and I've been getting requests about that, so we'll see. Now that we have the laptops like the Zephyrus G14 and G15, and they are comparatively cheaper and better CPU and probably better battery life, do you think it's worth it, better than the G14 or the G15? Now, those are gaming laptops, right? Those are focused for gaming. This is more focused to content creation or content creators. So I think the idea that you can certainly use the G14 or the G15 for these same things. It's just that the display, I think, is more optimized on this OLED one, particularly for content creation, video editing, color grading, things that content creators will do. Normally, you scroll by using two fingers and swiping up and down. Yeah, I don't know how you can do it with your thumb. That's kind of weird, right? Maybe I'm missing something. I'm a huge Windows XPS 15 fan, but I can't justify buying this over the MacBook Air or the Pro M1. There is no Pro. Well, yeah, there is a Pro M1. I'm sorry. There's no M1. There's no 16-inch is what I'm trying to say. Even though I really want to buy the XPS, it's twice the price here in Germany. What do you think? Here's my thing on it. Yes, I love the M1, the Air, and the Pro. The Air I wouldn't compare to this because that's more of a budget laptop, although you get great performance out of it. That doesn't have any active cooling. So I would stick with the Pro version of that if you're going to try to do anything above that. Now, having said that, there will be a MacBook Pro 16 with a next and more advanced M1, M1X, or whatever they're going to call it, that will be coming probably, I guess, September, who knows. That would compete with this. Now, here's the thing. You want to have a touch screen. If you want to have ability to run Windows, if you want to have an ability to connect to an external GPU, at least for now, you can't do that with the Mac. You'll have to use a Windows machine such as the XPS 15 and the XPS 17 and the like. So bear that in mind. Now, Windows will be coming through emulation, as we saw with Parallels and other companies. And of course, I always forget it. But the other one is, it's ridiculous. And you can't run, and the gaming is the other aspect. If you want to be a gamer, if you want to play games, you're going to have to stick to the Windows for the most part. Not that you cannot game with a Mac, it's just not going to be as optimal. And that's where we are as far as, it's not so simple as just getting better raw numbers on a synthetic benchmark test such as Geekbench or whatever. Of course, the M1 is going to do better because it's a great chip. There's no denying it. It's a very efficient chip. but it doesn't tell you the whole story. I love the Macs. I'm using one right now here to live stream on a MacBook Pro 16, but there are things I can't do with this that I can do with the Dell, and vice versa. So as I've mentioned in the past, I'm platform agnostic, which means that I don't pick one or the other. I pick what's the best tool for the job or the best for the project. And you're going to have people like Fan who are going to be adamant and say it could only be one chip or one maker or one brand over another. And that's not how I roll. I roll with being open to different things and not being tied to one brand or one chip or one platform or another. So I just think, and then again, exactly, right, ThinkVision, they're fanboys, and I don't care for that nonsense. I look at what's good, what's bad, and I report the numbers, and you have to make your decision yourself. If you want to be loyal to a brand to the point of not looking at having a closed mind, then more power to you, but I'm not in that camp. I really think there is value from the Windows side, from Intel, AMD, Apple, whether it be Mac OS, whether it be iPad OS, I don't care. I just care, is this the right tool for the job at that moment? That's all I care about. And Carl, yeah, there's fanboys on every side, whether it be Samsung Knights, whether it be the Apple fanboys, whether it be the AMD who are very, very, very vocal, or Intel. So it just doesn't, everybody's going to pick sides. It's ridiculous, you know? It's like, remember, I don't know, years ago, of course, I'm dating myself. It was IBM versus Apple. Then it was Windows versus Apple. Then it was, you know, it was always something. It's going to be something polarizing people and so forth. As a software developer, the M1 is not the best for us. So, and again, that's from a perspective of a developer, right? So that is a very good point. Tom Ho says the M1's power performance ratio is by far the best, except it can only run OS X or OS X, right? Yeah. So either you're bought in, all in the Apple ecosystem or not. And and I'm not, although I use Apple products quite a bit, and I'm live streaming on one using Ecamm Live, which is only made for the Mac. So you see there are use case scenarios that can be great on one platform and not be available on another. So I'm not going to pick sides. I'm just going to use what is best for the job at hand. And that's my way I do. Yeah, it was the IBM PC versus the Apple IIe. And that goes back to the late 70s, early 80s, that's for sure. All right, so we're 166 watching. Let's check in on where we are. We've done this for about 20 minutes, I guess, on this test. I should have probably put a timer on. But it's around 88 to 90 degrees centigrade. And it reached a peak of 100. Once it does that, it goes down, and it's maintaining almost 2.9, 2.8 gigahertz. So it throttles down to get to that temperature a little bit less, and then it just maintains it. And I think the numbers are good. So I think that's pretty much for this test. So you will on a Core i9, which is what I have here, you will get some thermal throttling. Now, if I can only close this test, because I lost my mouse, but again, this is pushed to the max. So there you go. Anyway, hopefully I can get this. I lost my ability to control that display. Yeah, that's working. All right. I got my mouse back. I'm ending that. There we go. Now things are back to normal. Okay. Yes, I think, so the bottom line is, do you need the Core i9? My answer is no, you don't need it unless you're doing high-end video editing and you need those big bursts of speed or power. If you're not, you're perfectly fine with the Core i7 to do those things. You're perfectly fine. Save the money, get more RAM, get more storage. That's my advice. As far as the OLED, do you need the OLED? Nobody needs anything. Do I recommend the OLED? Absolutely. I absolutely love the OLED display, but there is nothing wrong with that fantastic display you see here on my right, which is an IPS display. Now, that OLED display is a 3.5K display with a slightly less resolution, of course, than the IPS display. But to the naked eye, to be honest, I don't notice the difference. And you won't either. So at these screen sizes at 15.6 inches, you're not going to notice it. It is perfectly fine. and it is absolutely gorgeous. So there you go. Will the power brick be hot to the touch? If it is, then you know it's putting out a lot of power to the PC. Let me take a look. Hold on. Not overly hot. Not overly hot. It is a little bit warm, but nothing where you can't touch it. So I would say it's not over. It is hot, but not overly hot. It's somewhat hot. So there you go. Is the screen on the base model nice? I don't have the base model, so I don't know. Is it a full HD plus? And they make great displays. Look, let's be clear. There is no bad display on this, but there's just one that goes to the next level. Hey, Kasara, good to see you. No problem. Yeah, I guess I am an old man, my friend. Resolution is wasted on you. And stupid comments like that is what we get on the live stream, of course. I guess I am an old man. What can I tell you? All right, this is good. It is power efficient. Yeah, I think it is. It's definitely power efficient. And I didn't notice it's right now at 100% in terms of the battery. Right now, it is fully charged. The charge rate is, yeah, I don't think we saw any drain there. And by the way, look at that, full runtime, 8 hours and 17 minutes, which is almost exactly my test that I did, which is 8 hours and 19 minutes. So that's pretty accurate. So anyway, you want to get this little tool here. It's free. It's called Battery Bar Pro. Not a sponsor here, but definitely something you might want to check out for if you want to know your stats on your battery. Do I feel the price is justified? Well, I think the price is high, obviously, but yes, I think it is justified because you're getting probably the best display on the market right now. I don't think there's anything better. You're getting build quality that is first rate. It is a beautiful laptop. There's nothing that compares to it as far as I'm concerned. It's a beautiful laptop. I think it's better than the Mac, to be honest. This is the nicest looking laptop I can find right now. There are some good ones out there, but this, to me, is the nicest looking one. The thinnest bezels, or among the thinnest bezels. It's just a great laptop, and it's got something about it that makes you want to grab it. You know, it's not always about the specs and the benchmarks and things like that. It's sometimes, and I'm sweating here already because I'm talking so much and getting excited about this stuff. It's something about the aesthetics about it. It's just fun to use. And it's something more than the benchmarks. It's something more than the numbers that you just can't put your finger on. It's something intangible. All right, we got what do we got here? 166 of you watching. All right, we could take the scroll off there. Let's put on, we haven't done the view count. Let's see how the view count looks on the stream here today. It'll turn from 0 to something, hopefully. All right, now, maybe that will update, maybe it won't. I haven't used it in a while, so we'll see what happens. I guess it's not working. Let's take it off. Let's try it. Let's see. Let's go off there, and then we go back on here. Usually it works. There we go. Sometimes it's a little finicky. 178 of you. Good to see you. Bottom line, and I think this is a great point by William, to each their own. And I think that's a great way to look at it. My pocket square keeps going down. I really think that's the way to approach things. You know, you have your own tastes, your own aesthetics that you like. And, you know, I like this. To me, I like this. This is looking good to me. But it might not be for everybody, right? So it might not be for everybody. So for those asking, let's take off the 9510 for now, and let's bring in the 9310. So here we have the 9310. And it's just, you want to get a size comparison. Let's do the overhead shot. And they're both the white. This one's running Windows 11. And you can see it here, Windows 11 on this. This is running Windows 10. It's the same. It's just a miniature version of this. Although, of course, this is a 1185 G7, a Core i7, 1185 G7 as far as the Tiger Lake processor. This is the H series processor, the 11900H. This has a discrete GPU. This has the integrated Iris Xe graphics. So we're about to hit 200. We have 197. Come on, people. Let's hit that 200. And by the way, we have 138 likes with almost 200 people watching. Let's hit that thumbs up, people. Let's get this spread out over YouTube. And so far, I'm actually running the preview of Windows 11. I got to say, I'm happy with it. Not too many issues. I haven't really had any issues with it so far, but not to say that I'm using it every day. I'm not. It's not my main laptop. So, and I don't recommend anybody putting Windows 11 on any production machine or any everyday business machine, or it's your everyday use machine. I would stay away from Windows 11 until that is released officially, of course. But if you have a spare laptop, like I do, I have many of them, I would recommend doing it just to get an idea, if you want to have an idea of what Windows 11 can offer, what you can expect. Thank you, Neve Shah. I appreciate it. Shout out. There you go. Could you please compare with the XPS 17? Okay, so I do have the 17 here. I don't know if I can fit all these in. Let's see what we can do. And here's the 17. This is the 9700. I will be getting the 9710 from Dell, hopefully soon. Let's zoom out. You can see how messy the floor is. Let's put these back a little bit. Well, we got to come up here a little bit. And then this is, of course, the 17. Let's see if I can go out a little bit. No, that's about as far as I can go, unless here you can see it here. And so let's show you the difference between the two. I'm going to take the 13 off for now. We could always bring it back. And here is the 17 on the right. So if we go to this, and let me zoom out. I don't know if I have any juice in the, I haven't used the 17 in a while. Let's see if we have any juice. If not, let's plug this in. Let me take that power plug. Now it's plugged in. All right. So that's the 17 right there, people. You can see the difference. We just saw the 13. And you can see they have the same keyboard, basically, the same keyboard layout. It's the same size. More deck here, of course, which shows more fingerprints, and you have bigger speaker grills on either side of the keyboard. So there you go. You know, they had the 2-in-1 fan. They do have the 13-inch, and I don't remember. They used to make, did they make, I think they made a 15-inch at one point, but I don't remember now. I think they discontinued that, right? Am I wrong on that? I thought, wasn't that Dell? Anyway, here's a 17-inch, again, with a beautiful UHD Plus IPS display, as you can see here. Probably have to update this, but you get an idea of it, and there you go. Size-wise, see what these offer, and you can get the top down there. I love the 17. It's obviously heavier. It's a bigger display. It's a beautiful display. Let me crank up the brightness. What else is there to say? They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous laptops with beautiful displays. And you're paying for it. They're expensive. They're not cheap, but you're paying to play, right? I have this view. Apple's not cheap either. And I'm sure with their 16-inch M1 Mac, whatever that is, the M1X, when that comes out, that's not going to be cheap either. All right. We have 174 watching. We just hit the hour mark. For those joining us late, hey, everybody, it's Andrew. We are looking at the Dell XPS 15 9510, which is on the left. The 9710, which I don't have here. I have the 9700. That's coming. I spoke with Dell. They're sending that. I will be getting, this is my own personal laptop, the 9510, for those wondering. And ThinkVision, you're correct. Dell makes the 13-inch and a 2-in-1. They make Inspiron models and 2-in-1s. Right. So not on a 15-inch scale. They don't make that. All right. All right. We got 180 of you watching. It's a good live stream today, a really lively live stream. I'm now I did an experiment. We've now done an hour. I don't think we have, knock on wood, we're doing 1440p, 30 frames per second. I think it looks good. Now, this is the Pocket Camera Cinema 6K Pro from Blackmagic that I'm using, and I think it's a keeper. I'm really liking it. Here you can see it, what I'm using as my main camera, camera 1, and there you can see it. This is camera 1. How is everybody? Camera 2 is my Sony a6400 with the Sigma 16 millimeter lens, f1.4. It's a good lens. Camera 5, what I showed you, camera 3 rather, is the overhead cam. That's the Sony FDR AX33. It's a video camera. Camera 4 is the Sony FDR AX700, a more prosumer video camera. And then, of course, that's camera 5, which is my Lumix G7, which is barely working nowadays. And then my 6 is, of course, the input into the Dell XPS 159510. And then there's nothing on 7 and 8. There you can see it's all black. So those are my cameras right now. There is one more camera I can show you, number 7. And this, let me turn it on now, just for a little behind the scenes while we have a few moments here. This is camera 7. And this is, if it ever goes on, is the, and there it is, this is the ZV-1 from Sony, and I have it on a rotating arm here. The ZV-1, how is everybody doing? It's a nice camera. It's a nice vlogging camera. And then you can see how messy my studio is back there where I do some of the B-roll. And then I can sort of use this to sort of rotate around. You can see my beautiful face. And then behind me, of course, is the rest of the studio. And you can see that camera there. So a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look on that, and that's how we do it. That's how we roll here on my channel. All right, 171 of you watching, and Triggered Gamer, I am Nevasha. I needed to log in from another account, but I love the XPS 17. Can you please play some games on the XPS 17 and show, please? This is the 9700, and I'm not going to play any games on the live stream right now. I'm not set up for it. Maybe next week I can do some gaming on it if you want. But right now, I don't have the setup for that yet. And I don't want to take anybody more time. We're already over an hour. I don't want to go too long tonight. And I 777, I touched upon this earlier about the XPS 15 9510. I don't have, there's no trackpad issue this time around. A little bit on this one. This is last year's. Let's go to this camera. And then this one, I am not seeing any trackpad issues. This one is a louder one. You hear the click more. This one seems a little bit more silent. Interesting stuff. This had some issues last year. This seems to be rectified in terms of the new version. So good job on that front, Dell. It looks like you may have fixed it. Now, when will you review, this is a question I get quite a bit. When will you review the ThinkPad P1 Gen 4, which I'm hopefully getting soon, as well as the X1 Extreme Gen 4? I'm expecting to review both of those. So bear with me as Lenovo gets them in. I will be getting them. I have a very good relationship with Lenovo, as I do with Dell and HP and the others. So I anticipate reviewing both the P1 Gen 4 and the X1 Extreme Gen 4, which I'm looking very forward to. On paper, those look pretty amazing. So I can't wait to get those into the studio to test, right? How much performance loss do you see when unplugged compared to plugged in? I didn't notice really any degradation in terms of the performance on this one when I was testing it last night. I think that's a little bit more on an AMD side that I noticed with the AMD processors more than the Intel. That's what I noticed on that. But again, I still need to do a little bit more testing. Now, for those wondering, when is my full review of the Dell XPS 15 9510 going to drop? I anticipate it dropping midweek of this week coming. I am almost done with it. I did my thermal test. I've done the battery test that I talked about. I've done the benchmarks. And of course, I've already measured the display, which is fantastic. So we're ready. I'm just got to edit it. I got to put it all together, give you the graphics, you know, how I normally do, and bring you my quality videos as I try to do. Having said that, the video I released yesterday, for those joining late, I did release a video yesterday. It's the ThinkPad X13 Gen 2, which I love. I actually had a couple of mistakes in there and one editing mistake. The editing mistake occurred in the introduction where the white, it turned into like a white background, which I don't know where that came from. And that was a kind of a glitch, I think, with YouTube, because it looked fine on my end when I processed it and when I encoded it. And then the other issue that I had with that video is I mentioned that it was a 2-in-1 convertible on a number of occasions, and it was not. There is a Yoga version of the X13 Gen 2, don't get me wrong. I just happen to have the clamshell. So it's not totally wrong, but I don't want to mislead anybody, because I review so many laptops, people, that it's hard to keep track sometimes of what's what, because you really are inundated with multiple type of laptops that are the same over and over. So sometimes I get confused when I do like a 2-in-1 and then I do a clamshell right after that. So I sort of got confused there, but not a big deal. I didn't want to pull the video. I did put a pinned comment to let everybody know, and I did put in the description that it is the clamshell laptop. Anyway, so most people, yeah, I'm sweating because the AC, I'm wearing a jacket, probably not the best idea. Let me lower the AC a little bit here. And it gets a little bit warm with these lights. That's why. Anyway, we're almost done here. Let's see here. Let me put the AC right now. I'm going to put it down a little bit. Yeah, it is kind of hot. Woo. But there you go. Yeah, I'm on fire, man. I'm on fire. Or we could do this. All right. Yeah, what happened was this benchmark that I did took up all the electricity. So there you go. How is your XPS 15? Have you hinge issues or holding it vertical? No, I have not. I don't hold them vertical. Well, hold them vertical. Why would you hold your laptop vertical? You could break the hinge, like if you do that, I think, right? With so many laptops to review, one laptop looks like another. Yeah, absolutely. They all, at some point, they all look the same to me. All right. I'm waiting on Dell. I should be getting the precision in on the 5750 and the 5760. I'm sorry, the 50, yeah, the 15-inch and the 17-inch, right? Yeah, I should be getting those. All right, so let's, do you edit video on the 15? I actually edit video on it, yes, but I also do most of my videos, for those that are wondering, on this. This is the MacBook Pro 16. I do Final Cut Pro. I'm starting to do a little bit more Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, and I'm on both platforms as well. Drinking black coffee, pretty much black coffee here. All right, what are you looking forward to in the laptop development next 2 years? That's a good question. What am I looking for? Just more improvements, I think, in the battery technology. I want to see a little bit better battery life to continue. And I want to see the chips get smaller, produce less heat, be more efficient, of course. But, of course, that takes time. And Apple's got a good lead on that right now. They're doing a great job. AMD's doing a great job. They got a 7-nanometer chip. Apple's got a 5-nanometer. Unfortunately, Intel's stuck at 10 nanometer, but we'll see what Intel can do. But you know what? Intel's doing okay with these H series. I was expecting a lot of negative things from it, and I'm not seeing the negativity that some people were anticipating on this. I'm actually seeing that it's been pretty good. There you go. All right, Handquake, take care. Thank you for helping out once again, moderating, and good to see you, my friend. Black coffee for the win. Yes. All right. All right. I think we're going to call this a live stream. I don't like to go more than an hour, about hour and 10, hour and 15. So let's wrap it up here. And I think this was obviously, you can see here, we ended on a good note here. I want to thank everybody for stopping by, and let's hit the music. That's my cue. Stay tuned, people. I have the Dell XPS 15 9510 coming this week. Hopefully this video will be done. I'll get my full review out on that. I have the Aero coming from HP, which is the Pavilion. That should be a pretty interesting laptop, a new laptop with some pretty interesting specs and a good price. I got a lot of other stuff. I got a lot of videos in the queue, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. There's a lot to come. So until next time, everybody, I will see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.